Welcome to ET English, the unique English language learning feature of Education Times. This recording is brought to you by Panthea Gunathilaka, the founder of Cleon, Academy for Speech, Drama and Leadership. The Education Times comes to you every week with the Sunday Times, a leading publication of Vijaya Newspapers Limited. ET English introduces a unique way of learning English through stories. It has a short novel and also a picture story, both of which are being published in episodes every week. All the lessons and activities that are given in the feature are from these two stories. Many English scholars accept that when you learn a language through stories, you remember them better. Further, the picture story will complement this by adding the visual component as well, where it will help the readers create vivid images in their minds, helping them remember those dialogues and the words through these incidents. Now we're going to bring the audio version of this feature, where you can listen to the stories and the lessons. First the picture story, secondly the novel, and finally the lessons. Both the stories in this feature are based on stories from the short story book by Mr. Asghar Hussain and published by Vijayapa Publications. To get the best out of this feature, we suggest that you get a copy of the Education Times and also a dictionary. Also, it will help if you read the feature once or twice on your own. At the same time, try to get the correct pronunciation by listening to audio attentively and repeatedly and trying to read it after every dialogue, emulating the voices that you hear. We shall start now. And all because of a fag, based on a story by Asghar Hussain. Part 9. Illustrations by Anton B. Pereira.
You said that you're trying to scare us? You are lying again. Little while ago you said you were scared.
Bhaiya, he's lying. Kill the rascal. No. Just let me explain, please.
Before he could utter anything,
Shut up, you dog. Oh! We don't need your excuses.
Answer me, or you will be cut to pieces. So, who is Kaluaya? You'd better tell me the truth.
Wasn't he the fellow who drowned Pereira in the canal yesterday?
Where are Jamal's weapons hidden? Weren't you the one who shot Dr. James?
today we have Lesson 9, Continuation of a Good Medical Boy. A short story taken from The Mirror of Paradise by Asghar Hussain. My friend placed 2 fingers on his chin and thought for a while, looking studious again. Now I felt very nervous. The fool had already said he wanted to be a neurologist and thought insulin was administered for hepatitis. He had also confused a tick with a parasite. I dreaded to think what he might say this time. He didn't take long to give his diagnosis. "I think it's some stomach problem," he said. "Why don't you take some laxatives?" Suddenly, Mrs. Herath dropped her fork on the plate and glared at Rajpal. He looked very uncomfortable and gulped at her eyes scrutinized him. "I don't think you know what you're talking about," she cried. "What Mrs. Vijaytunga just described could be appendicitis. I should know, because I had my appendix removed. Haven't you heard that when laxatives are given in such cases, the patient could even die?" Now the place became unbearably tense. The air seemed thick and oppressive. We hurriedly finished the food on our plates, while they eyed us suspiciously. Mrs. Vijaytunga kept peering at us over her glasses, reminding me of a stern science teacher I hated in grade 7. I glanced at the broker and noticed the beads of sweat on his brow. We didn't care what they had prepared for dessert. It was obviously something good, like a fruit trifle or cheesecake, but this was not the time to contemplate such delicacies. We rose from our chairs, and Rajpal said we had to go now as the lecture was set to begin at 2:30. The broker cursed under his breath and wiped off the sweat with the back of his hand. Mr. Herath looked in a very contemptuous way. "Yes, you better leave," he bellowed, pointing at the door. Then he turned to his wife and said, "I don't know what kind of fellows they admit to university nowadays. That's what happens to these bookworms. They study too hard trying to become doctors, and a few nuts come unloose." The lady shuddered. She shook her head and said, "Yes, I think he's going to leave a lot of corpses behind." We turned back to look at them as we walked away from the house. The family, Mrs. Vijaytunga, and the broker all stood outside the gate, staring at us. We felt their eyes hovering behind us long after we returned to campus. Let's begin the activity time with activity 1. In this, with column A and column B, you have to match the contextual meanings. The first one in column A, placed 2 fingers, means position 2 fingers. Answer B. The second one, looking studious. Answer is A, seemed bookish. The third one, administered for hepatitis. The answer is given to treat. The fourth one, confused a tick with a parasite. Answer in column B is O, mixed up a twitch with a parasite. The fifth one, looked very uncomfortable. The answer is F, appeared uneasy. The sixth one, seemed thick and oppressive. The answer is C, seemed heavy and cruel. Seventh one, kept peering at us. Answer is N, eyes following us. Eighth one, eyed us suspiciously. Answer is H, watched us doubtfully. Ninth one, reminding me of. Answer is G. Coming to my mind. The 10th one, to contemplate such delicacies. Answer is L. Think about delicious food. 11th one, cursed under his breath. Answer is I. Very annoyed. 12th one, pointing at the door. Answer is M. Slowly showing the way out. 13. To leave a lot of corpses behind. Answer is J. Leave many dead bodies. 14. Staring at us is D. Kept looking at. The 15th and the last one, eyes hovering behind us, is K. Glaring. Activity 2. Here is a list of verbs taken from the two texts. You have to read the text and find the past form and match them. The 12 verbs are think, feel, shudder, shake, dread, scrutinize, describe, become, below, turn, walk, stand, return, shoot, drown. Moving on to activity 3, the common language expressions and its possible applications. The first one, he thought for a while. Possible application, I kept the file on the table and thought for a while. The second language expression, the broker shook his head and said, what a fool he was. The third one, what he might say this time. The application, I can't imagine what she might do next time. The fourth expression, why don't you take some laxatives? The application, why don't you try some colacanthar? The fifth expression, you said you were scared. The possible application, you said you were hungry. Let's look at activity 4. Read the picture story, study the language expressions selected, and use them appropriately in your day-to-day conversation. The first one, you say that you were trying to scare us. The second one, let me explain, please. The third one, we don't need your excuses. The fourth one, wasn't he the fellow? Fifth one, where are Chamal's weapons hidden? The word bank. Only the meanings relevant to the context in the stories are given below. We have 22 words with 22 relevant meanings. The first one, scare, means to frighten somebody. The second one, rascal, means a person who lacks respect for others. The third one, utter, means to say something, to make a sound with your voice. Fourth one, nervous, means anxious about something. The fifth one, tick, means a sudden quick movement of a muscle. The sixth one, dreaded, in other words, means causing fear. Seventh, laxative. It's a medicine that makes somebody empty their bowels easily. Eighth one, gulp, means to swallow a large amount of food or drink quickly. Ninth one, scrutinize, means to look at or examine somebody or something carefully. 10th one, unbearable, means too painful or annoying to deal with. 11, tense, means a situation in which people are worried or nervous. The 12th word, oppressive, means treating people in a cruel and unfair way. The 13th one, peering means looking closely or carefully at something. 14. The word is stern, which means serious and disapproving. The 15th word, glance, means to look quickly at something. The 16th word, contemplate, means to think about whether you should do something. 17. Contemptuous means feeling or showing that you have no respect. 18th one, bellowed, means to shout in a loud, deep voice. The 19th one, shudder, means to shake because of a strong feeling. 20. Hovering. This word means waiting in a shy or uncertain manner. 21st word, brow. It's the part of the face above the eyes and below the hair. 22nd and the last word, delicacies, means types of food considered to be very special in a particular place. That's the end of the activity time for lesson 9. Dear listeners, thank you very much for taking the time to listen to our recordings. You're welcome to give us your feedback and suggestions on the phone numbers and the email address given in the ET English feature in the Education Time section. We meet again next week. The recording was brought to you by Panthea Gunathilaka, the founder of Cleon Academy for Speech, Drama and Leadership. Until then, goodbye and happy learning.